The traditional way of looking at it is global rig count, which is how many drilling rigs are turning at the same time, although now that's becoming less of a leading indicator than feet drilled or meters drilled or whatever, because of some changes in the new technologies that are making drilling more efficient. The two key industrial minerals that go into drilling fluids are bentonite and barite, barite being the larger of the two. And price volatility in the last few years has been dramatic. Starting in about 2011, the shortages that we've seen in China in particular, which is the main supplier globally, really caused significant pain because of not so much the price going up and the cost going up, but the rate at which it went up so dramatically. It really makes it difficult for companies in our business who are in long-term contracts with very large exploration and production oil companies to go in and get recovery from that. So unfortunately, what we see is value, shareholder value, go out the door in favor of the supply side, which is not really fair to anybody. For many years, China has been the dominant producer and exporter of drilling grade barite, really dwarfing everybody else. China is still huge, it's still significant, but what's really great to see is some of the other markets in the world are now coming on stream. Really notably, Morocco has dramatically stepped up its production and exports. India has stepped up to some extent, and now our industry is looking at other sources around the world, and as a great thing, we're gaining traction in our own backyard in Nevada. All the producers are out staking claims. The driver for this has been something that started in 2006 when we all looked at the world of barite. We looked at the depletion rates in the higher densities of barite, whether it's in Nevada or whether it's in China, and we all became quite alarmed. So a campaign went on to educate the consumers, and a lot of it through the American Petroleum Institute, the API, a push to adopt a second API standard density in addition to the benchmark 4.2 specific gravity is add 4.1 as an alternative grade. That actually in the bureaucracy took 2 or 3 or 4 years to do, but the industry adopted it right away and has really adopted it. It's been an educational campaign that was very successful because now our common customers not only see the wisdom from a cost standpoint, but a sustainability standpoint to look at not using 420 when they need 410, or even in some cases, specific applications that don't even need 410, we're seeing requests to quote and supply something less than that. So it's moved from one size fits all to very fit for purpose. It's been that way since before the early 80s, and I wasn't in the industry then, but from what I'm told, the late 70s and early 80s were a tremendous chaotic period. The drilling, if you remember, 4,000 rigs running in North America. There was a lot of drilling going on, a lot of barite being consumed. It was coming from all parts of the world, and there was relative chaos. And as the downturn came in 82 through 86, it was a period of reflection and sort of reconfiguring the industry. What I'm told is 4.2 was the density that gets the job done technically. Maybe not quite as good as 4.3 or up to the physical limit of 4.4. However, it got the job done, and it looked like it was going to be the infinitely sustainable number. So it was a compromise between technology and availability. And then obviously what happened after that was we looked out 20, 30 years later and looked at sustainability again in a different way. There was a great article in The Economist about a year ago in June of 2012 that described that same thing, Simon. And what it described was the period of the last 30 years when the E&P companies decided that their role in life was to really understand and exploit the reservoir, not necessarily figure out all the technologies to make that happen. And that really became outsourced to the oil field service companies who began devoting really significant research and development dollars, which started paying off in really exciting technologies. Drilling today is so much more efficient and so much more effective than it was 30 years ago. It's a totally different industry. As you know, I've been to many industrial minerals conferences. This one this year is in Houston, which is a great venue to have it because it's the home of oil field services. It allows several advantages to the big comprehensive congresses and conferences that are very valuable, but this is so focused that we end up having attendees, delegates, who are really all involved in the same industry, either from supplying into it or part of the industry. And it allows for much more focused, richer discussions. And once again, the name is efficiency. We can see a lot more get done in a week here because of the people that show up, what happens during the conference, as well as what happens in the evenings and the mornings and everything. It's very efficient from the standpoint of travel and seeing the right people. So I really hope that industrial minerals continues to do focused conferences in addition to the big ones.